Welcome to our video on Brahmacharya. It may be a while since some of you have seen me on our Semen Retention Journey channel, but I would like to take a moment just to say thank you for all of the views, for all of the comments, for all the subscriptions, and for your support. It means more to me than I can say, so thank you with all my heart. Now today, as I'm sure you can see from the title of this video, we're talking about something called Brahmacarya. You might know what that is, or you might be saying, what is he talking about? What is Brahmacarya? So it's a Sanskrit word, and I'll do my best to define it. It's two words put together. The second part, karya, or conduct, or if you like, vow, a way of behaving. And then the first part from the word Brahma, which is the divine. So literally, Brahmacarya is God conduct. It is the practice of conducting oneself like God. Yes, you heard that right. The practice of conducting oneself like God. So yeah, this one's hang on to your beard here. This one's playing for all the marbles. Now, if you started semen retention because you were excited about having more women be attracted to you, this is not the video for you to be watching. You can just stop it right now. But thanks very much. Have fun with that. It's just that this video is not for you. This video is for men or women, but it is only for those men and women who choose to practice sexual continence for the right reasons. And anyone, man or woman, can take on these practices. But as I'm speaking to men, that's how this channel works. And the traditional texts are generally aimed at men. So we will be speaking as though this is a man conducting himself according to Brahmacarya, as the texts are written. So there are 8 points, or 8 aspects of Brahmacarya, traditionally. That means if you're going to take on this practice of God conduct, it's very, very rigorous, and it has 8 parts. So let's list them in order, and then we'll go more deeply into each one. Number 1, do not remember or think about women. Number 2, do not glorify sexual activity with words. Number 3, do not joke or flirt with women verbally. Number 4, do not look at women with desire. Number 5, do not spend time secluded and alone with a woman. 6, do not choose to engage in sexual intercourse. 7, do not seek sexual activity. And number 8, do not engage in sexual activity. Now you might be thinking, if you like shortcuts and easy answers, wow, that's a lot of granularity. That's a lot of specificity. What is the point of all this detail? Well, if we men or women for that matter, are going to take on this kind of a code of conduct, it has to be for the right reasons. As one great saint has said, divine eros. So I tell you, there's no reason to take on brahmacarya as a practice unless you wish to be united to God. You can conduct yourself as God does, but that's only for the purpose of being united to God. So if that's what you wish, then it's useful to break these things down. And one great example I love is Saint Seraphim of Sarov, who practiced these principles for many, many, many years prior to the apostolic phase of his life. During the ascetical phase of his life, he practiced these principles very carefully, much more rigorously than other monks of his time, in fact. Now let's go one by one. Number one, do not remember women. Do not think about them. Do not call them to mind. Yes, it includes your mother. Yes, it includes your sisters. Just put that to rest. Your mind has better things to think about than women. Period. Yes, if you want to engage in this practice, it will mean things like stop watching YouTube videos about the psychology of dating. What else does it mean? You can find out. But number one, do not think about women. Number two, do not glorify sexual activity in words. You've heard men bragging to each other about sexual conquest, or talking about their need for it, or whatever. Or dirty songs about sexual activity. All of that's covered by number two here. Stop glorifying singing hymns to learning about sexual activity. No more glorification of sexual activity with the words of your mouth. Just stop that. Now, number three. Now we're talking about your verbal conduct, your comportment with women. Women are on the earth, as are you, so you may run into one. It could happen. If you run into one, no joking or flirtation. You know how humor is an important and effective tool for seduction. So don't go there. Encounters with women, for someone practicing Brahmacharya, are not an opportunity for flirtation or humor. You may treat the woman with respect and acknowledgement, and you may provide her service if she is in need. But there is no joking or flirtation or presenting of yourself on a man-to-woman basis with any of that intrigue that is such a source of arousal for women. Just stop that if this is what you wish to practice. That must end. And now, number four. Pretty simple. But if you live in a place with plenty of beautiful women, it requires rigor. Do not look at women with desire. This means, of course, that there may be a woman who walks by, and you may see her, but to intentionally look with a look of desire, which means strong interest, that you'd like that, that is what you must give up. No looking with desire. Number five, now a bit more rigorous. Don't spend time secluded and alone with a woman. Right, so don't go away with a woman. Don't get in the same space with a woman. If you're creating for yourself this way of life as brahmacarya, as God conduct, then one-on-ones with women are now for you a thing of the past. Of course, this would include things like massage, which is for most people a legitimate service, and if you're a man getting a massage from a woman, that's perfectly legitimate. But if you wish to spend your energy and your heart and your body, the energy of your life in this practice of brahmacarya, then you cease all such things. That means a woman would never bathe you, not even in the hospital, not even if you were sick, and you would certainly never be one-on-one even with a female physician. There is just no alone time with a woman for a man who's practicing this particular way of life. So no one-on-ones with women. Number 6. This may be obvious. Do not choose to engage in sexual intercourse. This is talking about the mind. Do you notice that before someone engages in an act, he chooses to do it with his mind? So this addresses that. Don't choose it in your mind. Go into your mind and refrain in your mind from choosing sex. Notice it doesn't say choose not to have sex in your mind. It's not what it says. You simply abstain from choosing to do it. Notice it takes something of a mental effort to choose to have sex. Might you even be making that mental effort? Is there perhaps a choice in your mind right now, a choice to have sex at some time under some circumstances? You might even be single. You might even be imagining at some point I will be married and I choose to have sex then. If you're going to really take on this practice, known as brahmacarya, you give that all up. Even in your mind, you refrain from the choice to engage in sexual activity. Now, number 7, do not seek sexual activity. You might say, well, shouldn't this be obvious? Have you ever noticed that men let themselves get away with activities which are a form of seeking sexual activity even if they never actually follow through on it? It's still wasting their energy and their attention. I used to rent a room years ago from a married man who lived with his wife. His wife wasn't home all that often because she worked a lot, but he usually worked from home. Now, I think he was faithful to his wife, but I noticed that he would print out online ads for prostitutes because I would see them on the tray of his printer when I'd walk by his desk, which was in the middle of the house. And I was always surprised by it because I knew he was married and I was pretty sure he was faithful to his wife. I still think he was actually faithful to her. But in his mind, he was obviously engaging in a behavior that would be called seeking sexual activity. In other words, his mind was going in that direction and he was taking some steps, go look at this ad, look at this image. There was a seeking of sexual activity, even if he never engaged in the activity. And according to a brahmacarya perspective, even that violates the brahmacarya. Even the mental movement in that direction, the looking, without ever getting to the part that includes sexual conduct, that still abrogates the practice of brahmacarya. No choice to have sex, no seeking sex, or any sexual activity of any kind. And then lastly, number 8, do not engage in sexual activity. And what does that mean? It's very, very clear from the ancient texts. It means no masturbation. It means no sex with anyone of the opposite sex. It means no such conduct with anyone of the same sex. It means absolutely no sexual activity of any kind. No, not even in your dreams. The end. This also includes things like kissing and things that are not procreative but are of a sexual, sensual nature. The man taking the vow of Brahmacharya gives all of that up, all such activity. So, once again, let's recap. For Brahmacharya, number 1, do not remember women. Number 2, do not glorify sexual activity in words. Number 3, do not joke or flirt with women. Number 4, do not look at women with desire. Number 5, don't spend time secluded and alone with a woman, ever. 6, do not choose to engage in sexual intercourse. 7, do not seek sexual activity. 8, do not engage in sexual activity. If you practice all of these 8 principles with rigor, in other words, if you take on the life of Brahmacharya, retaining your seed becomes all but effortless, or actually effortless. I hope this was useful to you. If you liked the video, please feel free to leave a comment, and I also welcome you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share it with anyone you feel might benefit. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one.